A very good evening to one and all. Welcome to Shankar IAS Academy's daily newspaper analysis. Today's date is 22nd of June 2024. Displayed here are the list of news articles that we are going to discuss today. So without much delay, let us get into the news article discussion. Look at this news article. According to the news article, the National Human Rights Commission, in short called as NHRC, has taken actions against a village Panchayat in Baghpat district of Uttar Pradesh. The action has been taken because they offered a bribe of 5,000 rupees to the mother of a minor rape victim and asked them to end her pregnancy. The family was also threatened by the attackers. So the NHRC has criticized the Panchayat for siding with the perpetrators who are from a powerful community instead of helping the victim. So this is the crux of the news article given here. So in this news article discussion, let us revise the basics about NHRC. See, the NHRC of India is an independent body established on October 12, 1993 under the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. This was later amended in 2006 and its headquarters is in New Delhi. So what does NHRC do? See, NHRC protects human rights in India. These rights include the right to freedom, life, equality and dignity as guaranteed by the Indian Constitution and international agreements. Know that NHRC was created following the Paris Principles established in 1991 and approved by the United Nations in 1993. They gave guidelines for promoting and protecting human rights. Talking about its composition, that is, who are all there in the seat of NHRC, the NHRC includes a chairman, 5 full-time members and 7 additional members. The chairperson is typically a former Chief Justice of India or a Supreme Court judge. The President of India appoints the chairperson and members based on the recommendation of a 6-member committee. This committee includes the Prime Minister, who is the head of the committee, then Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha, Leader of Opposition in both House of Parliament, and the Union Home Minister. Talking about their tenure, say the chairperson and members can serve for 3 years or until they turn 70, whichever comes first. If you ask, are they permanent in their position? Actually, no. The President can remove them under certain circumstances, but they can also be removed for proven misconduct or incapacity based on an inquiry conducted by a Supreme Court judge. Remember, NHRC has 5 specialized divisions. First is Law Division. This handles the legal aspects of the case filed here. Second is Investigation Division. It conducts the investigation of the cases. Third one is the Policy Research and Program Division. It develops policies and programs for the protection of human rights in the country. Fourth one is Training Division. It provides training on human rights. And last is the Administration Division. It manages administrative tasks of the Commission. Now, before concluding this particular article, let us see little factual information related to human rights. First one is about UNHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. See, this is the first major document in the world outlining fundamental human rights for everyone. It was adopted by the United Nations on December 10, 1948. Human Rights Day is celebrated every year on December 10 to mark this declaration. In 2023, it marked the 75th anniversary. Next one is Paris Principles. It was developed in 1991 to strengthen national human rights institutions. It became the foundation for creating and operating such institutions globally. India created the Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 based on these principles to improve human rights accountability in the country. This act also states to set up their own Human Rights Commission. So these are all very relevant facts that you have to remember with respect to NHRC. It is very important. So these learnt points. Now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this article. It is a critic of Dr. Shashi Tharoor on the recent election results and its implication for the country. As we all know, for the past 10 years, India witnessed a majority party rule. Even though it has many positives like increased efficiency, India also witnessed various ramifications on its political landscape and federal structure. This has changed past 2024 elections with the BJP relying heavily on its regional parties in the National Democratic Alliance (NDA) to form government. This has various implications across which we are going to see this article. Friends, even though this is a political article by a politician, but we as a student should delineate points which are useful for our examination. So that is what we are going to do in this particular news article discussion. Firstly, the article talks about restraint on central dominance and majoritarianism. See, the coalition governance scenario serves as a check on the central dominance and majoritarian tendencies in the society. It is evident in various steps like putting sudden lockdown without consulting the states, then imposing president's rule in the state, and etc. This can be negated with the rise of regional partners and coalition dynamics. Moreover, this will keep a check on the authoritative laws which could impinge on the rights of the minorities and etc. Secondly, challenges to cooperative federalism. So the article says that since 2014, the rising trend towards centralizing power, undermining the authority of states has been seen. This is happening despite the rhetoric of cooperative federalism. This centralization has manifested in various forms like imposing Hindi on southern states, using federal agencies to target political opponents from regional parties, then imposing nationwide policies without consulting state leaders, then misusing funds and resources intended for states, then abrogating Article 370 and altering the state of Jammu and Kashmir, then disrupting fiscal federalism by using cess and other tools to control state finances. These steps will pose a threat on the federal fabric of Indian polity, which is a lifeline of Indian democracy. Thirdly, the impact of delimitation and census changes. See, in this article, the author talks about a potential threat to federal balance in the country. It is nothing but the potential lapse of the 91st Amendment Act in 2026. Know that it deals with the delimitation of seats in the legislation. The lapse could lead to a new delimitation exercise based on a fresh census. Various critics fear that this change could disproportionately increase representation for the Hindi-speaking northern states, potentially marginalizing southern states. Moreover, there is a concern that this would create an imbalance in representation, favoring states with higher population growth and poor performance in various development indicators. Fourthly, the article talks about financial imbalances in the country. See, fiscal federalism and political federalism are the two sides of a same coin. Currently, the allocation of tax revenues disproportionately favors less developed northern states, increasing the regional disparities in the country. Know that the southern states which perform better on various developmental parameters receive less funding in comparison. This disparity is seen as financial persecution rather than equitable redistribution. This undermines the principle of a fair federal system in the country. Fifthly, the role of regional parties. See, the regional parties within the NDA like Telugu Desam Party and Janata Dal play a major role in the current government. Even though they focus on securing benefits for their own states rather than advocating for a stronger federal structure, they may push for federal reforms in the future. So the article calls for revising the Interstate Council as a panacea for the problems. This council, envisioned in Article 263 of the Constitution, has the potential to be an effective forum for consultation, decision making and dispute resolution between states and the central government. It says that the revitalization could foster better coordination and cooperation, ensuring that diverse state interests are accommodated in national policies. So to summarize, the current political scenario in India, witnessed by coalition governance and regional party dynamics, offers an excellent opportunity to reinvigorate India's federal structure. Remember, it is essential for states, especially those in the south, to leverage this movement to push for genuine cooperative federalism. This approach is vital for maintaining India's unity in diversity and preventing regional, linguistic and developmental disparities from undermining the country's democratic fabric. These are all very relevant facts that you have to remember from this article. Make note of all the points and use it wise in your mains answer writing. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Now look at this column article. It states that recently the peace in Ukraine titled Path to Peace Summit held in Switzerland ended on 16th June 2024. That is exactly on the day when prelims happened. Through this summit, participants hoped for an end to the war between Russia and Ukraine. With this backdrop, let us understand few facts from this column article for both our mains and prelims examination. First, let us start with the highlights of the summit. See, around 80 countries have called for the territorial integrity of Ukraine to be the basis for any peace agreement to end the Russia-Ukraine war. They supported the final joint communique that outlined a path to peace and focused on three agendas. First is nuclear safety, then global food security and humanitarian issues. More importantly, the declaration also emphasized the release of all prisoners of war and the return of all deported and unlawfully displaced Ukrainian children and civilians. One more important thing is that Russia, the primary party to the conflict, was not invited by the host, Switzerland, due to the International Criminal Court's indictment of President Vladimir Putin. So these are all some of the highlights of the summit. Moving on, let us see about India's stance on this particular issue. See, India along with Saudi Arabia, South Africa and United Arab Emirates refused to sign on to the final document released at the conclusion of a peace summit. India emphasized that only proposals acceptable to both Russia and Ukraine can lead to peace. In addition, no BRICS members, current and future, signed on the statement indicates that it was a non-starred among the emerging economies. So although India's abstention from endorsing the summit's outcome was expected, given its balanced stance on the conflict. However, India's presence indicated a willingness to engage in the peace process, potentially leading to more inclusive future conferences with both Russia and Ukraine involved. Consequently, India's decision to attend but not sign the communique was a strategic move. So these are all certain facts that you have to remember from this column article. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this news article. Recently, National Testing Agency have decided to postpone the joint CSIR UGC NET examination, citing unavoidable circumstances and logistical issues. With this backdrop, let us understand few basics about NTA from the prelims perspective. So what is NTA? See, the National Testing Agency or the NTA is an autonomous and self-sustained primer testing organization in India established by the Ministry of Education, formerly known as the Ministry of Human Resource Development in 2017. Remember, it was established as a society registered under the Indian Societies Registration Act 1860. The NTA's primary objective is to conduct efficient, transparent and international standard tests to assess the competency of candidates for admission to primary higher education institutions. Talking about its key objectives and functions, firstly, NTA aims to provide high quality assessments that are fair, transparent and error-free. It uses advanced technologies and rigorous protocols to maintain the integrity and credibility of exams. Secondly, NTA is responsible for conducting competitive entrance exams like NEET, JEE, CTET, GATE, GPAT, GMAT, CAT, UGC, NET and etc. Thirdly, NTA is committed to research in educational testing and measurement, developing new testing paradigms and updating existing ones. It focuses on psychometric analysis to ensure the tests are valuable and reliable. Fourthly, the agency also works on enhancing the testing and assessment capabilities of educational institutions in India. So with these basics, let us understand some of the associated issues with NTA. See, while NTA has revolutionized the examination process in India, it faces challenges like handling large volume of candidate, ensuring cybersecurity and addressing technical glitches. So the NTA actually aims to expand its scope by incorporating more exams and adopting innovative testing methodologies to further streamline and enhance the examination process. So to conclude, the establishment of NTA is a significant step towards improving the quality of education and standardizing the assessment process in India, ensuring that meritorious students gain admission to primary institutions based on their true potential. These are all very relevant facts that you have to remember about NTA. Education is an integral part in GS paper 2 syllabus, so make note of all these points. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. Look at this article. Recently, 10 tranche of commercial coal mining auctions was conducted by the ministry That is why it is in news. So in this backdrop, let us understand in brief about commercial coal mining in India and its auction process from the prelims perspective. First of all, what is commercial coal mining? See, presently, despite being the world's fourth largest producer, India is the second largest importer of the dry fuel. The nationalization of coal in 1973 meant that domestic coal could be mined only by public sector companies. Coal India Limited, in short called as CIL, registered an unprecedented increase in coal production and became the world's largest coal miner. However, the country's coal demand continued to grow at a much faster rate. Due to this, the growth in coal import, that is from 2009 to 2014, stood at 23%. Commercial mining of coal can increase the domestic production of coal and bridge the supply gap. So, in line with the vision to build an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a slew of reforms to promote commercial mining of coal in India has been announced. In that line, unlocking coal mining for private player is a step forward to attain self-reliance in the coal sector. So I hope you can get it. Previously, due to nationalization, only the public sector companies, to be specific, the CIL only can mine coal. But due to growing demand for coal, commercial mining is allowed in India. So now let us see the present regulation that facilitate commercial mining in India. See, the Mineral Law Amendment Act 2020 facilitated commercial coal mining, allowing 100% FDI under the automatic route. This deregulation aims to attract global and domestic investments. Then more importantly, coal blocks are now auctioned through a transparent bidding process. This encourages competition and efficiency. Successful bidders receive license to mine and sell coal. Most importantly, entry norms has been liberalized, has done away with the regulation requiring power plants to use washed coal. Coal blocks to be offered to private companies on revenue sharing basis in place of fixed capital, and also the coal gasification or liquefaction to be incentivized through rebate in revenue share. So remember all these facts about coal mining and commercial coal mining regulations. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next news article discussion. So today for our mains answer writing discussion, I have taken a question from GS paper 3. Let me read out the question for you. What do you understand by intellectual property right? Discuss how India should manage intellectual property rights issues in India. See, this is a very straightforward question. So you can split the question into three important parts. One is about IPR. Next, what are the issues in protecting the IPR? Then how India should manage the existing issue in IPR. So with this outline, let us try to answer this particular question. First, write a small intro for IPR. This should show how important is IPR for a country like India. Let me give you a sample introduction. You can write that. Intellectual property right, IPR, refer to the legal rights guaranteed to creators and inventors to protect their inventions, designs and artistic works. For a developing country like India, robust IPR protection is vital to encourage domestic innovation, attract foreign investment and integrate into the global economy. So you can write this simple introduction. Now in the first part of the body of the answer, you have to write about the issues in protecting IPR in India. So you can give a connecting statement like this. You can write that despite its importance, several issues plague IPR protection in India. For instances, so you can add these connecting sentences and move on to the main body of the answer. Firstly, piracy and counterfeiting. See, rampant piracy and counterfeiting, especially in the entertainment and software industries, undermine the benefits of IPR. According to a report by the Confederation of Indian Industry, CII, India loses billions of dollars annually due to counterfeit goods and software piracy. Secondly, the process of obtaining and enforcing IPR in India is lengthy and complex. However, you can mention India's rank in the ease of doing business report of the World Bank. Then you can write about lack of awareness. See, many small and medium enterprises and individual creators lack awareness about the importance and process of securing IPR. This leads to underutilization of the IPR system. Fourthly, inadequate infrastructure for IPR enforcement, including patent offices and courts. The Indian Patent Office, for example, has faced criticism for its backlog of applications and lack of sufficient examiners. Then finally, balancing public interest and private rights. See, there is often a conflict between the two. For example, granting patent for life-saving drugs can make them unaffordable for a large section of the population. So you can write these points in the first part of the answer. I'm going to the second part. In the second part, you have to write about how India can manage these IPR issues. So you can write that to effectively manage IPR issues, India needs a multifaceted approach. Firstly, simplifying and streamlining the process for obtaining and enforcing IPR. This is very crucial step. Fast-tracking mechanism for IPR disputes and dedicated IPR courts can help in this regard. The introduction of the Commercial Courts Act 2015 is a step in the right direction but needs further enhancements. Secondly, increasing awareness. For this, campaigns and education programs about the importance of IPR can help SMEs and individual creators understand and utilize the IPR system. Here you can mention about India's IPR policy, which needs to be more robust in its implementation. Then improving infrastructure. Here focus should be on upgrading the infrastructure of patent offices and courts by increasing the number of examiners and judges specializing in IPR. This can reduce the backlog and expedite the process. Here you can mention any e-government's project related to IPR in India. Then fourthly, you can write about providing incentives for R&D and innovation through tax breaks, grants and subsidies. This can motivate individuals and companies to create and protect their intellectual property. Here you can write about the Atal Innovation Mission AIM, which is an initiative aimed at promoting innovation in India. Finally, collaborating with international bodies and other countries can help India strengthen its IPR regime. For this, India should join global agreements like Madrid Protocol and the Hague Agreement. This can provide Indian innovators with broader protection for their intellectual property. So you can write these points and move on to the conclusion part. Here you have to give a positive way forward. So you can write that effective management of intellectual property right is crucial for India's economic growth and the goal of a $5 trillion economy. Also, strengthening the IPR framework will boost innovation, attract investment and enhance global competitiveness, positioning India as a global leader in IPR protection. So you can write all these points for this particular question. So with these learned points, now let us move on to the next part of the news article discussion, which is a preliminary practice question discussion. Look at this first question about National Testing Agency. Two statements are given and you have to find which of the statements given above is or incorrect. See, the correct answer for this particular question is option C. Both statement 1 and 2 are incorrectly matched. Actually, NTA was established by Ministry of Human Resource Development, which is now called as Ministry of Education, and it was established under Society Registration Act 1860. So the first statement is incorrect and the second statement is also incorrect because it is a very extreme statement which has only. Actually, it assesses competency of candidates for recruitment processes also. For example, UGC, NET, UGC NET is conducted for awarding junior research fellowship and assistant professors. So the correct answer here is option C, both 1 and 2. The question asks for incorrect statement. Okay, moving on, look at this question. Here you have to find how many of them share a land border with Ukraine. The correct answer is option A, only 2. Ukraine is bordered by Black Sea and the Sea of Azov to the south, Russia to the east and north, Belarus to the north, Poland, Slovakia and Hungary to the west, and Romania and Moldova to the south. So the correct answer is option A, only 2. Moving on, look at this question. 3 statements are given and you have to find how many statements given here is or are correct. Option C is the correct answer. All the 3 statements given here are correct. Know that peat is the first stage of transformation from wood to coal. It has a low calorific value and less than 40% carbon content. Coal beneficiation is a process by which the quality of a raw coal is improved by either reducing the extraneous matter that gets extracted along with the mined coal or reducing the associated ash or both. Since India's coal is high in ash content, coal beneficiation should be done to reduce the ash content and improve its grade. So third statement is also correct. So the correct answer for this particular question is option C, 1, 2 and 3. Displayed here is the mains practice question for you today. Just go through the question, try to answer it in the comment section. We'll try to evaluate your answer in the comment section itself. So if you like the video, hit like, do comment and don't forget to subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy YouTube channel. Now thank you so much for listening.